Hello, and welcome to the Scott Mize Show, podcast focused on body and hormone optimization and improvement for anyone who's looking to get jacked, build muscle, lose fat, improve their hormones, feel better, or improve their health. Here, I interview experts in lab work, hormones, bodybuilding, coaches, bodybuilders, and everyday people and senior executives who have improved their hormones and improved their body. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Anything you hear should not be taken as medical advice. Please consult with your physician before making any changes to your diet, exercise, or supplementation protocols. This podcast is brought to you by Element Electrolytes. Element Lemonade is finally here. It's great for a hot summer day, workout, or just enjoying with a cold beverage at your desk. Check it out and get your free sample pack of their favorite flavors, along with any regular purchase when you use my custom link, which is drinklmnt.com/Scott Mize. The sample pack is great for anyone who's interested in trying their most popular flavors or anyone who wants to introduce a friend to Element. Go to drinklmnt.com/Scott Mize to claim this awesome deal. Now on to the show. All right. Today, I'm very excited to have my friend Josh Jefferson on. He's an elite online physique coach for people over 25 who's helped his clients lose over 1,000 pounds in total, is an NPC Classic Physique competitor as well. He just finished an impressive competitive season competing at Junior Nationals and NPC Universe in Classic. Josh is also the owner of a gym/supplement store in Hicksville, New York. And finally, Josh is a co-host on the excellent One More Rep podcast with my good friend Joseph Pircher and Austin Brown. Welcome, Josh.
What's going on? What's going on? So actually, just a quick correction.
Yeah,
I am a sponsored athlete for a supplement store. I'm not a co-owner.
Got it.
But I might as well be because I'm there nonstop.
Yeah,
it's
I figured based on your Instagram,
6 minutes.
you're always there.
Yeah, it's less than 6 minutes from my from the gym, so I'm
Cool.
quite literally always there.
What's the name of the store and the name of the gym?
The name of the store is Natural Body. So there's a whole bunch of natural body. I think there's 6 of them currently. And then name of the gym is Hardcore Ultimate Gym on Instagram, but really it's just Ultimate Gym.
Okay.
I've owned that for about coming up on 5 years in October.
Cool.
I bought it right smack after COVID, which was probably not the best idea, but hey, things happen. And you know what? It made me grow up quick. I was 22 years old when I bought it.
Wow.
So it was one of those things that it was like, I remember sitting there and I was like, I have no idea how to run a business, but I know how to make a good gym.
Yeah.
And it's just get the best equipment, have a hardcore atmosphere, and like lead by example, come up and pretty much just show people like, hey, I like to train really damn hard. And if you want results, you can do this too.
Cool.
And if you don't want to train like this, that's also fine. So yeah. That was just leading by example, being the guy who shows up and says like, yeah, I'm gonna try and kill myself under this bar and see what happens. So
that's awesome. Did you go in with like a partner or were you just like, I'm doing this myself?
So blessed enough, I have my mom who helped me with being able to, actually purchase the place.
Cool.
And my mom and Suzanne still help me to this day at the gym.
Awesome.
Sue puts in hours throughout the week. They take care of Delilah. They are special people. They help me to achieve my dreams. And even down to like something like Junior Nats, I walked off stage. One of the first texts I got was from Sue, who was at the gym with Delilah. And she was like, I don't know if that judging was fair, but 2 weeks until Universe. And I was like, I gotta watch the gym. There was never a plan to do a second show. And she's like, you should do a second show.
Nice.
My mom kind of felt the same way. She was like, as long as it's different, do the second show. And I was like, I guess we're dieting for 2 more weeks. I was planning on calling it, but all right. And thank God I did, because for my own mental space, I needed that. So I needed to come out and do Universe. I needed that higher weight cap because now, 26 pounds of tissue. And also finally being able to do a routine on a national stage, that was awesome. So
yeah,
I'm very thankful for them to just allowing me the opportunity to do it. And even though I was in the depths of hell and didn't really want to talk to anybody, like I am forever grateful that I was allowed to do that. So
yeah, that's so cool that you have people like that in your life.
Yeah,
Makes all the
very much so.
difference. So let's back up a little bit. How'd you get into bodybuilding? How'd you start
So it's
lifting
funny.
weights?
That was going to be my next thing, actually. So Sue used to train at Bev's back in the 90s.
Oh, cool.
She used to go out to the all-you-can-eat sushi places with the fanny packs with Dave Palumbo and all them, and their fanny packs didn't have rice in them. I'll tell you that right
Nope.
now. Uh, but hers did. She would take the rice off the rolls or whatever and put them in the fanny pack. But
Cool.
she started back then when I was about 12 years old, 12, 13, eighth grade. I was overweight and I wanted to play at the best football school in the state at the time, which was St. Anthony's. My dream was I was going to play at St. Anthony's. I was going to get recruited by Pete Carroll. I was going to go play at USC. I was going to be a first round pick in the NFL and all that nonsense. But I knew the first step was I had to go and play at St. Anthony's. And I was a 5'3", 155-pound kid who was way too chubby and way too slow. And I needed to lose weight and I needed to get into a gym in some way, shape, or form. And she kind of just brought me in like everything we did. 3 sets of 15, 45 minutes of cardio on the end of the session. My goal was always to get 15 miles in 45 minutes because that's a 3-minute mile and it was nice and even. So like, hey, I'm pushing it. I was moving. And next thing I know, I think it was like 2 months later, I was like 20, 25 pounds down. I felt better. I looked better. Um, and then over that summer, like continued to kind of keep going to the gym. She let the reins off me a little bit. And I vividly remember getting crushed under an 85-pound barbell. Um, and that's where kind of my mindset changed actually too, because I remember it was one of my Pee Wee football teammates' dads was there. And he was like, if you had just asked me for a spot, you would have gotten 10 of those. He was like, the weight was just a little too heavy. And I just looked at him and I was like, no, I'm too weak.
Mm,
It's like the bar is not going to change.
yeah.
I am the one who needs to change. So
Yeah.
I got under that bar. I did not a single rep. It came down, it crushed me. I had to tip it off to the side to get it off me. And ever since then, that my mindset kind of changed to like, hey, listen, you can do whatever, you could say whatever you want, but there is no line when that bar is on you if you can get it up or you can't. And it makes a man out of you. But that is how I started. And then, through high school football, it changed. You get with trainers, you get into the weight room with the team, and you go from doing bodybuilding style workouts at 3 sets of 15, super form focused to like who can lift the most amount of weight. Um, and that's kind of how it started. Wound up getting to play college football, which was awesome. Um, Still lift the most amount of weight in college. I had a very good strength coach and Coach Buck, but like he again kind of molded my mindset to like don't be a bitch, like show up, show out. And then I tore my ACL
Mm,
and everything kind of changed. I mentally didn't really want to go for strength anymore. I kind of just wanted to like look good. I wanted to get back on the field, but my coaches we'll leave that part out. Um, I hated football for about 6 years after I was done, after I tore
wow.
my ACL. It goes down a darker path, but I know we'll get into that at some point. Uh, and we kind of just went to the gym to like go burn calories because I knew that something that would make me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
Um, and then football was kind of taken away. And when you're an athlete like that and you've done it for a really long time, you got to find something. Sooner or later, you're just sitting there and you're like, I can't just keep playing video games. I can't just keep drinking. I can't just keep sitting around. I have to do something. And like powerlifting sounded cool, but that's more so the same thing I was just doing. Who can lift the most amount of weights? And I went to this like powerlifting-esque gym that had some pretty decent body masters equipment, some hammer strength stuff. And I just went in there and like DC training my way through it, just hoping for the best. And it, it to a degree worked. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I worked hard. So
Yeah.
that was kind of my intro into training, bodybuilding, all that. So
Cool. And when did you do your first show? When did you get the itch to compete?
I originally did a prep in 2021, uh,
Okay.
but I never finished it. 3 weeks out, broke up with my girlfriend at 4 a.m. in my house.
Oh,
The day before our anniversary, technically the day of our anniversary. Shout
wow.
you out. And then woke up the next morning, had to train legs, took a double shot of espresso, went to Natural Body at which she worked at.
Ugh.
I got an energy drink, took the energy drink, went into the gym, and just got absolutely buried by my best friend at the time. And I woke up the next day and felt like I got hit by a bus. And I was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, my legs were swollen. I had cankles up to high heaven. I could send you the picture afterwards that like I had my legs up on the wall and like I must have had like mid calves on and like my ankle would look like this and then outside of where the sock was just double the size.
Wow.
And I was like, I sent the picture to my coach at the time and he was like, what did you do? And I was like, I don't know. And I woke up the next morning. I had no lines in my legs. I was still super swollen. My weight was up like 8 pounds. And he was like, how did you cheat on your diet? And I was like, I didn't.
Yeah.
The next day I was up like another 4 pounds. And he was like, what's going on? And I was like, I have no idea.
Stress.
Like I
Yeah.
genuinely couldn't tell you. And then I was just like, hey, I think we need to call this prep. Like I don't love what's going on.
Mm.
Um, and then I started working with a different coach like 2 weeks later.
Okay.
So that was my first prep. That was 2021. And then I worked with that coach for about 2.5 years. And then we stepped on stage at Garden States in 2024.
Okay.
I got second place in open, second place in true novice.
Wow.
I then stepped on stage at Universe the next weekend and beat the kid who beat me in open for classic. And that was the only thing I cared about. And I placed 14th.
This was last year?
That was 2024. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So I stepped on stage at a whopping 201 pounds, um, with a 217 at the time weight cap. My weight cap's now 232.
Wow.
They mismeasured me by about an inch and a half. So
So how tall are you again? 6'2"?
6'1 1/4" according to the
Okay.
NPC this year. At
Got it.
Universe at Junior Nats, I was, I think 5'11 7/8.
Got it.
So, but I did slouch going into it. I'm not gonna lie. I just was like, all right, we're class C. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
So I probably could have been, over 6 foot, but it wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've done 4 shows, 3 of which are national shows. Um, I've only
Crazy.
done the one regional and I have not won anything, which is my favorite part about the whole thing. That's why every time I'm on a podcast, I say I'm the worst bodybuilder in the room because most people have at least won a class and I have won shit. So,
That's pretty crazy. And how did coaching get started for you? When did you start coaching people and helping people?
so funny enough, my first coaching client actually played in the NFL.
Wow.
He was my college teammate. Shout out Tommy Costigan, my boy. He just kind of saw the transformation I was going through, and he asked me, like, hey, man, would you write me up a diet? And instead of really writing him up a diet, I just kind of gave him my diet. Was like, I have no idea if this will work for you or not, but like, if it does, cool. If it doesn't, like, let's work together and make changes. And he lost like 20 pounds. He lost so much weight that he then had to turn around and start gaining weight back because the Chargers did not want him to be light.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, well, this obviously worked. How are we going to gain weight? And at the time, my thought process was like, don't add food, just add olive oil and honey. Like, that's fine.
Mm.
So it's like, we need carbs and fats. So, like, add 10 grams of olive oil to each meal, add like 20 grams of honey to each meal. That'll fix it. And it did fix it. And he didn't look great. So then I realized like there might be a little bit more to it. So I asked my coach at the time if he'd start like kind of teaching me a little bit. And then I also found Seth Feroci's video on YouTube, which was chicken and rice motherfuckers.
Oh, nice.
And which he describes out like just have a base of like chicken and rice and then add from there or subtract from there. And I was like, oh, this is easy.
Yeah.
And then like I'm a big math guy. I love math. I loved math growing up. When you realize that this is all just chicken at 100 grams of chicken, it comes out to whatever, 27 grams of protein. It's like, all right, cool. Let's do the math on this every single time and just make sure you don't get it wrong from here.
Yeah.
100 grams of rice is going to be 28 grams of carbs. If it's cooked weight, you do that every single time and make sure that like you don't mess it up. And I just kind of throw out quick math, and as soon as the math makes sense, that's how the diet's built from there based off of the person's preferences and the meal timing and, so on and so forth, all the things that go into building a diet out. But like it all starts with math at the end of the day in my book. And then from there, I start to cater it towards the person that, if you don't like fucking chicken, then like, hey, listen, we're gonna have to figure something out here. But like it gets as basic as that, or it can get as complicated as like I've had John Jewett style meals where there's 20 different ingredients in it, and it's like, hey, listen, this is difficult to put in the spreadsheet. So if we got to make a change here, we're gonna have to simplify this meal out.
Yeah.
But it works for certain people. It doesn't work for other people. It definitely works for the people who work from home. So
Yeah.
but that is how coaching in the nutrition aspect started. I actually started running programs when I was 16.
Wow.
So I had a friend who I trained with who I used to write up programs on a spreadsheet and print them out and put them in a binder. And me and him would have these binders carrying around. And they were, 5x5s and then a 4x15. And they didn't really have a lot of ideas to them. But I said, hey, listen, if we follow this and we get those numbers to go up, I understood what a logbook kind of was.
Yeah.
If we can get these numbers to go up every single time, something's got to be happening. And it did. So
That's cool. And you've obviously helped a lot of people since then. How has coaching evolved for you? And like, what do you enjoy most about it?
So I get a lot of joy out of two parts of it. One, when somebody gives me a non-scale win. If one of my clients turns around and is like, "Hey, going down the stairs is so much easier now," that's like such a win because it's like
It's
you
life changing.
change that. Yeah, you change that person's life. In my opinion, that's like somebody could lose 100 pounds, but if they don't feel better on the inside, like that means nothing. If somebody can go down the stairs or like play with their kids or whatever and they feel better, that's a win to me. And the other one is like obviously being in the gym. A lot of my clients are from my gym. So like if somebody comes up to me and they're like, yo, I've lost a lot of weight in the past, but like it's never been this easy and I've never felt this strong and I've never enjoyed it this much. That's another one.
Yeah.
Actually, and lastly, this one happened a couple times, and this is like something I kind of hang my hat on. I've had a woman who was severely overweight, who I pretty much started working with as soon as I opened the gym. She was not able to, at first, she wasn't fertile. I didn't run any fertility protocol with her. I just had her lose 30 pounds. Next thing I know, she was pregnant.
Wow.
I still wish her daughter a happy birthday every single year because she was one of my first clients ever. Um, or if like a guy gets a promotion because all of a sudden he lost 30 pounds and he's more confident in his skin and he goes up to his boss and he asks for the promotion that he should have gotten 2 years ago. It's like, yeah, those are pretty cool. And also,
Yeah.
you got a client for life if they turn around and they're making more money now because of you. Like you're going to help that person no matter what for the rest of their life, whether they
Yeah.
are actually a paying client or not, just because like you are intertwined forever now.
Yeah. That's so cool. It's so much more deep than helping bodybuilders get jacked or prep for a show.
Oh,
Um,
100%. This is the stuff I love about it is like when you see somebody's life fully change, like their confidence walking into a place is just completely different. And it's not like an arrogant thing, but it's like wow, you can feel their presence is now like they're a different person. They're a completely different human. That's the coolest part.
and talk about the early days of buying the gym. You mentioned buying a gym right after COVID was maybe not the best idea. What were some of the struggles, some of the challenges? Everyone says owning a gym is incredibly difficult, but what's that been like for you?
So we'll knock it back actually a couple, probably like almost a year before that. Um, when I had football, when I say had football taken from me, my coaches were telling me like, if you do this after the ACL, we'll get you back out on the field. We'll do this, we'll get you back out on the field. I vividly remember, and sorry if I get emotional about this one, but 2018, we're supposed to play Stony Brook. My best friend from high school is a starting running back at Stony Brook. Our starting middle linebacker is hurt. I was the backup for him the 2 years before that. And then we had another kid who redshirted the year before. Love the kid. He's like a little brother to me, but like he was not very good. So I'm sitting there and like, it's week 3. My knee is feeling a lot better, but like I'm probably not 100%. I can honestly say I definitely wasn't 100% now. But they traveled every kid from Long Island to that game except me.
Wow.
And I had never not traveled, even as a redshirt freshman. Like I traveled without pads. They traveled me to Coastal Carolina. They traveled me to Montana State. It did not matter. So all of a sudden I'm not traveling, and I was like literally sitting there shocked. I was like, wait, what? But they traveled everyone else, including the redshirt freshmen who were from Long Island. I just sat there and I was like, you got me. I figure I can curse on here, right? Like,
Yeah, of course.
like, yo, you got me fucked up. Like, you got me so royally fucked up right now. I've been busting my ass for months. I remember I called my mom and I was crying in my car. Full blown cry. Because I was like, yo, I got so many people who want to show up to this game. I'm about to play my best friend. Like, and now I'm not even going to the game. And it happened to be what Bryant used to call Around the World Weekend, which was all the freshmen would go out to all the townhouses and the seniors would turn around and give all the kids or all the freshmen like drinks that were homemade. And I sat there and I started making Long Island iced teas for them because I had the house completely to myself because my entire house was from Long Island. And they were all on the trip. And I remember vividly drinking a lot of Long Island iced teas, and that brought me down a dark road to being an alcoholic for pretty much the rest of my college career.
Wow.
Into my first year of working. To which I decided at one point, and this is the first time I've ever actually talked about this story on my camera, that I would rather buy a bottle of booze than put gas in my car. So then we can fast forward like 8 or 9 months later, COVID's happening, and I'm looking at a gym down in Tampa, but it's not going to really work out because COVID's starting, and how are you going to even make that happen? So then sooner or later, quit my job and found a gym up here. Cuomo announced gyms could open in a week, and the guy who owned the gym at the time was in the Bahamas. And it was like, yo, we don't open by the end of this week. Like, I'm going to lose every member, and this sale's not happening.
Yeah.
So we kind of found a workaround and open. And when I tell you that this gym kind of just welcomed being open with open arms, like they didn't care who was behind the desk. They were just like, it's open, cool. I couldn't even accept payments for the first like 2 weeks. But I was like, cool, gym's open, let's go. Like, thank God. And it had its struggles. The gym has been around since 1986. It's had members since 1986. There's still people there who started then. And they don't like change. You had an older Caucasian male who owned the gym, who listened to hard rock and classic rock. And then all of a sudden you have a 22-year-old black kid who comes in who wants to listen to DMX and, 50 Cent. It's like, it's a different vibe now. A completely different vibe. And like, things are changing. There's new equipment coming in. There's all these different pieces moving around. My mom's out here painting walls. We got a mural being built. Like, little stuff like that. Like, things are just changing nonstop. So I lost some members, obviously, and I gained some members. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here right now. But like, things just kind of turned over, and I got blessed into a situation where like every time there was something that was hard, there was something that was almost beneficial on the other end. You know what I mean? So it was like something bad happened. I lost a coach, or, I lost 10 members in a month. It's like the next month, all of a sudden, like I did a sale and I got 30 new people. Or, all of a sudden that coach left, but the bad blood left with her, or the bad blood left with him. And all of a sudden we got all this good stuff coming in, like good energy, and everyone's in a great mood. And like, the ebbs and flows of it kind of just worked out to where I can't I can't say that anything was really truly bad.
Mm.
There were things that were learning experiences and there were good things, but nothing was ever to a point where I was like, oh my God, this is the worst day of my life. So, yeah, running any sort of business, I think, is going to be hard.
Yeah.
Working any sort of job is going to be hard. But if you turn around and you try and have some sort of a positive spin, like I've been to rock bottom, I don't want to go back there. So I'm going to try and put a positive spin on everything that goes on. I think you commented on one of my posts, and it was like the calm that I had before going off stage. I think I was cracking jokes in the bathroom, though,
Yeah.
like most of the time. And it was just one of those things to me that it's like, yeah, what is the worst thing that could happen to me up on that stage? A trip? I'm going to start laughing if I trip. It's like, what, my pants fall down? Like, I remember I was saying to you, I was like, yo, my trunks don't even fit. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's like, all right, it happens. Like, you're going to figure it out sooner or later. So I think at the end of the day, it's always saying, like, when something came up at the gym, bad thing, all right, well, cool, we could dwell on this or we could try and fix it. And again, leaning on my mom, leaning on Sue, turning around and just being like, hey, listen, I don't know what the hell to do here. You guys have never owned a gym before. I've never owned a gym before. But you guys have a lot more life experience than I do. What should I do? And I'm always being there to kind of just, lift me up, push me on. And, hey, if they don't know it, like, better figure it out. So
Yeah.
something I
Thank you for
preach.
sharing that.
Yeah, something I preach to my clients all the time is like, you can only control the controllables. If something's out of your control, there's nothing you can do about it. So you just got to kind of keep going until it gets to a point where you can control it.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally relate to that. There's so much that can happen to you in life, and it's really easy to get overwhelmed by the things you can't control. And the more, obviously, no one's perfect. No one is a complete monk when it comes to that. But the closer you can get to separating out the things you can and can't control goes a long way towards your mental health and happiness and success, I think.
100%. It's like that Matt Jansen quote, just ride the midline. Like, don't ever get too excited. Don't ever get too down.
Yeah.
I've been in both extremes. They both suck. Like, cause when you come down from that high, it sucks. When you come up from that, or when you get down into that low point, it sucks. If you can kind of stay in the middle and let things happen, and I don't want to say react, like you always plan ahead, but like when a curveball comes, you can close your eyes and swing at it, or you can try and think, all right, where is that ball going to land, and how am I going to smack this thing out of the park?
Yeah.
And only take each pitch as it comes for another baseball analogy there.
So I'd love to talk about this prep, but even before that, you put on a crazy amount of stage weight between 2024 and this year. Um, Talk about how much weight did you gain, and what do you think went into that?
All right, so it's a little convoluted because university was like a pound. Um, but university junior nats was 17 pounds of tissue.
Wow.
And that was like comparable conditioning. I just got
Yeah.
significantly tighter for universe.
Yeah.
Um, the thing that went into that is honestly two things. I, well, we can talk drugs on this, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I ran higher test, which was a numero uno. Um, and I ran higher volume, but I ran higher volume with the idea of like zero RIR. I don't even know how to say it. That's how bad I am at it. Um, my goal every time I stepped into the gym, every set that I did was for that set. If Phil Viz said it best, if the gym had to close after one set, did you stimulate enough muscle tissue to grow?
I love that.
And I took that personally on every single set I did. And then I had a great training partner who refused to actually train with me. He would just kind of help me. He would spot me and he would rock my weights. His name's Mike. Mike deserves a shout out because he's a great dude.
Yeah. Shout out to
Um,
Mike.
And Mike would literally look at me in the middle of a set up legs and he'd be like, "What did the judges say about your legs? That they fucking sucked, right?" And next thing you know, I got 5 more reps.
Oh my God.
So it was like I had like this intrinsic motivation of like I did not want to be sitting there and not get to do a routine again. And I my best friend was top 6 and he didn't get to do a routine, but like you knew that he was going to turn around and be able to get a pro card this year. And like I wanted to get my pro card this year. I didn't want him to get his before me. So it was just like there was so many things that kind of went into the training where I was like, I am going full speed. I don't care. And I'm going to, if I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die during these sets. So that was one thing. The test was the other. And then my food was simplistic enough that I didn't have to think about it. So I had chicken as my protein source in 2 meals. I had beef as my protein source in 2 meals, and I had whey as my protein source in 2 meals. I had cream of rice or cereal in the whey meals. I had rice in the chicken meals, and I had potatoes in the beef meals. On my rest days, one of those beef meals didn't have potatoes and it had a salad. That was the difference. That was how simple my diet was, and it worked.
Yeah.
Simply because the year before, my off season had 6 different protein sources in a day.
Wow.
So it was like, this is just a lot to throw. Like I had food going bad constantly in the fridge because like, oh, I bought 2 pounds of beef, but I'm only eating beef in 1 meal today. So, tomorrow I have it in 2 meals, but I bought too much and now it's going bad. It was just like, eat the food, execute the plan, go the hell to sleep, smoke some weed if you got to turn around and eat a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Saturdays, I've always turned around and said like, hey, I'm not a bodybuilder this day. I'm sure you heard this on Joe's podcast. So I would eat my first meal. I'd probably snack on a protein bar while I trained. And then I would eat whatever I wanted for the rest of the day, probably about 10,000 calories worth of sushi and frozen yogurt and cereal. So
I gotta get on that Josh meal plan.
yeah, listen, I've had some meal plans in the past that are even worse than that. When I was in high school, the meal plan was chicken and rice at school, a protein shake at some point in the day, get home from football practice, eat a peanut butter and Nutella or Nutella and fluff sandwich, go to the gym or have a protein shake during that, go to the gym, come back, grab a box of cereal, put cereal with whey and almond milk, and eat said cereal until there was still just whey and almond milk left, and refill the bowl until there was just cereal left, and pretty much do that on repeat until dinner was ready. And then eat dinner and then probably have a snack before bed, most likely cookies. And that was high school football.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's a meal plan. You want to get big, that's a meal plan for you. If you were not playing high school football at that point, like listen, or college football or any sort of sport, you gonna get big off that one, I promise.
Yeah. And talk about how that mindset carried you into prep this year and what that was like for you.
I'll tell you, it was probably one of the worst things I ever had. Simply because I was so convinced that I was winning the overall at whatever show I stepped off stage at. I've had 2 friends turn around and say like, it wasn't confidence, it was cockiness. You were arrogant. And like, in Universe, I wasn't. Universe, I wasn't at all, because I was like, hey, listen, I just got smoked and now I'm 30 pounds lighter than the next guy next to me. I'm just gonna have fun with this.
Yeah.
But Junior Nats, like I sat there and I was, up until we stepped on stage and I wasn't first call, I was convinced I was winning the overall. I didn't care who was there. But it led me to train still that way of like, I'm winning this entire thing.
Yeah.
And that is beneficial. I will say that when you're nailing the diet, you're nailing the cardio, you're nailing the training, you're nailing the recovery because you are fully expecting to win, there is nothing that can change that. But it took the fun out of it. There was no enjoyment in the first part of that prep. The most enjoyment I had was probably show day at Universe. I got to meet you for the first time. again, I couldn't even stay backstage. I was just hanging
Yeah.
out with everyone
Yeah.
out
You were
front,
having a great time.
and I was loving it. And because of that, I would say like that is more so the mindset I want to have going into future preps, because like, listen, you can't control who shows up. If Dom Carter shows up next year, or Dom Carter derivative shows up next year at Universe, and there's two of them. Well, listen, if I did Universe again, which we haven't decided on a show, but I'm just using it for an example, right? Um, I show up and those two are there, and they're 40 plus years old and 245 pounds and have to suck down to make weight, and I'm sitting there and I'm 220. It's like, hey, listen, this one might not be yours, brother. And you kind of got to understand that going into it.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just want to have fun with the next one. I want to enjoy every second of it. I want to take the time to like really truly embody what bodybuilding is. And it almost made me turn around and say, like, I love the suck of this prep. That was probably one of the things I enjoyed the most, where I was dragging my feet or had to sleep in my office because I just physically couldn't do anything else. And like had to get up to coach a client, and then right after the client went right back into the office, fell asleep. It's like there were points in this prep where I felt like I was not going to make it through the day. And that showed me that like the love for what I refuse to call a sport is there.
Mm.
I can get into that too if you want. This is
Yeah.
the this is not a sport. Bodybuilding is not a sport. It's a pageant. And it's a pageant because how do you get ready for a pageant? You do your makeup, you do your little dance routine or your talent show part, right? Like I've been in a beauty pageant before. I know how that shit works. Um, you do all that little stuff, you get your outfits ready. Bodybuilding, how do you get better at bodybuilding? You go into an off season, you get bigger, you learn how to diet better, you learn how to train better. And then what do you actually do on stage? It's none of that. You stand up there in a Speedo, hit a couple poses, and you get off the stage. It's
Yeah.
the one and only sport, quote unquote, that you don't actually do the activity of the sport
Yeah.
to turn around and get better at the sport. You have to take time away from it to get better at it.
Yeah. That's an interesting perspective. I haven't thought about it that way, but you're absolutely right. It's funny. And what's the plan for the next year? Are you back on the sushi Saturdays? How are you going to fill 20 pounds of weight cap?
So every weekend, I think that becomes a mental struggle. Right now, I am trying to attack the rebound like Joe Pircher. I'm not cheating
Nice.
whatsoever. I posted on my story, which everyone is calling Dookie muffins because they definitely look like dog crap. I just put too much baking powder in them. Like I'll make a macro swap to try and make up for something, but like there's no part of me right now that needs the sushi, that wants the sushi. I'm up about 42 pounds from stage. It's been 3 weeks.
Wow.
I'm still in considerable shape. My body just wants the
Yeah.
food, wants to
You were
grow.
so sucked down, dude.
Yeah, like I think realistically it was a perfect storm of a couple things. I said this when I was like holding a fuck ton of water. Me losing 25 pounds in 10 days, that's one. Me
Yeah.
loading so hard in between prejudging and finals. I had 3 meals of 140 grams of cream of rice and a blueberry muffin, and then half a cookie and like 4 or 5 Rice Krispie treats before stepping on stage between prejudging and finals, which was 3 hours apart. Um,
Just burning
then
through
yeah, then after the show, like I had a slice of cheesecake. I'm lactose intolerant. That wasn't a great idea.
it.
Um, I had some cereal. I had a big bowl of steak beef rice or steak rice, bananas, and peanut butter because that was something I was craving all prep. And some barbecue pretzels. And then the next day, I had again. He gave me kind of like a free day, but I was just like, let me just get rid of all the stuff from this peak so I don't waste food. And I was just like snacking on that on the way home. And like, then I went and had the all you can eat sushi. And I was like, yo, I'm good with food for a while. I don't need this. But so I ate like that. Obviously, I was going to hold some water off of that. My baseline food was up to like 4,800 calories already off the back of that. And GH went in at 10 IUs. So
Nice.
Yeah, all of those together are going to cause you to hold water for a pretty considerable amount of time. And then my body just
Yeah.
kind of grew into it. So I'm definitely not, I'm not upset about it. There was a good like 2 to 3 weeks where I was upset about it. Like my face wasn't dug out anymore. The lines in my legs were pretty much gone just simply because like I was holding all my water there. My abs weren't quite as tight and I was mentally in the gutter from it. But now I sit there and I'm like, hey, listen, if I can somehow work my baseline food up to like 7,000 calories or 6,000 calories over this off season, prep is going to be way easier if I don't do those absurd cheats. If I even did it once a month and like
Yeah.
every other time I ate five of my meals and then just went and got like um and I'm on Long Island, right? So like I got a bagel, I got a slice of pizza. Uh, I go out to New York City, I come out and try to see you, and I go get a chopped cheese or something like that, right? Like something where it's just like one meal, eat the meal, and then move forward on my day. I think that's going to provide way more dividends than if I turn around and I do the whole I'm not a
Yeah.
bodybuilder today. And like it's a different level now, right? I did one national show, I was 14th, and the goal was to win the overall. Now I turn around and I was top five at the universe this year, so I've moved up 9 places. And it's like, yo, if you really want to take it to the next level, you got to be as diligent as possible. And for me personally, if I want to put on 26 pounds of stage weight in a year, I have to be perfect. That's an absurd number. That is
Yeah.
not that is not normal. 15 or 17 pounds of tissue in realistically a 6.5 month off season is not realistic either. But I did that. So what is telling me that I couldn't do it this time?
I think you will.
And I think realistically the difference maker is going to be the growth hormone. Um, that's one. Nailing a rebound, that's two. And turning around and not being an asshole on the weekend. And like still enjoying myself, still having some off-plan meals. I don't want one right now, but like if I turn around, I realistically take everything into consideration and put all of my eggs in one basket and really just focus in and lock in on that. And just, again, don't be an asshole. I don't see why not.
Yeah.
It's off season. I can have a bite of food if my mom's cooking, or I can have a little Rice Krispie treat or Reese's or whatever. But like, do you need it? Can you wait? Can you wait it out? Can you macro swap that in some way, shape, or form? Like, if you can, you're gonna be further along than a lot of other people. If you turn around and you're just pushing food just to push food and you get fat, all of a sudden that prep is gonna suck.
Yeah.
And this prep sucked. I'll tell you that right now. If I could avoid that prep sucking, that would be pretty cool, even though it was a great experience and I learned a lot and I liked it. If I can make it easier and still get in the same shape, that would be pretty nice.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. One thing I'm getting from you, Josh, is like you've done the like I'm going to do this as hard as I possibly can and crush myself. And I don't care about it being whatever it has to be or what it does to my life. And now you still attack things relentlessly, but you're like, I love this. I love bodybuilding. I want to do this for a long time.
mhm.
So you're like patient, but still driving yourself day to day, which I think is a great mentality.
Yeah, I would say last year's off season, I was redlining pretty much the entire time.
Yeah.
I was just pushing to a point where it was like, no one's gonna stop me. No one's gonna turn around and tell me like, "Oh, take a break" or "Oh, do this." I was literally training until I get sick, like
Mm.
ill, like 103 fever, and then I try to take 2 days off, and I'd be like, "Nah, we gotta start training again." And then all of a sudden, I'm sick again, and it was a
Yeah.
perpetual cycle of me just redlining. This year, I say plan on because when the demons start talking, you got to listen sometimes. I plan on if I turn around and I drive to that point, I'm going to take some time off. I'm going to relax a little bit. Can't promise that that's going to happen, but I'm going to try.
Yeah.
So it's maturing through the process, learning. I'm never going to turn around and be the person who trains RIR. Again, still struggle to say that one. I'm never going to be that person. It's just that's not my it's not my vocabulary. It's not my aura. I don't like it. It doesn't suit me. But there might be times where I sit there and I say, hey, this next rep might kill me. Maybe I should pull off a little bit. Maybe I know this one's not coming back up. Like I just posted a story of me doing a leg press yesterday, and I think that was like my third set of leg press after 5 sets of leg extension and 4 sets of pendulum squat, to which there was definitely a reason not to go for that last rep, and I still did anyway. So it's like you learn some lessons the hard way, but like right now, my legs are fried. It's fantastic. I love every second of it. So, you get away with the things you can, and then you make adjustments when needed. And like, hey, next week I might just turn around and take off one of the sets of the pendulum so I could push that third set of leg press that far. So as I mature, as I get older, I'm not gonna stop training hard as hell. I'm going to make sure that the rest of the program fits so that I can just absolutely abuse myself in the gym and make sure that I don't redline it to where I get sick.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you can take some pages from Austin on that one, where he's really refined down to like 1 set per exercise for the most part and just taking it all the way there. You don't have to do that yet, but
No,
I'm sure at some point you'll get closer to that.
Austin and I talk about training a fair amount, especially with Joe kind of being in the real depths of, peaking and everything like that. Like I wanted to not bother Joe. So I talked to Austin a lot and be like, yo, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And
Yeah.
he was like, you could probably take your volume down just because I know how hard you train. And I was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
We're not doing that yet. I got a little bit of time, still
You got
milking
to
this
get there on
rebound.
your own.
Yeah, it's like I
walk.
got a little bit of time milking this rebound. My joints still feel good. I'm going for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Roman Fritz does it.
yeah, I think realistically, if you're healthy and you're sitting there and you have the ability to turn around and say, like, I'm going to train with utmost intensity and I'm going to try to absolutely annihilate myself here, do it.
Yeah. If you
If
can
you
recover from it.
you will know relatively quickly if you can't.
Yeah.
If you can't recover from it, call it. If you can, do it again next week. If you can't recover from it next week, then you call it then. But if you could turn around and you could pull out 6 weeks of like quote unquote overtraining, on week 7, just take a break.
Yeah.
Change the exercises so that you're not as strong. Still push it to failure, but like that's a great way to turn around and like you do a 6-week block of really hard, really heavy lifts that are absolutely frying your CNS. On week 7, you change the lifts up, but you go a little bit higher rep and you use a movement that you're not quite as strong at. And then the next week you go back to your six straight weeks of really hard and heavy training. You just took 1 week to kind of give your joints a break because they're not used to the movement. You had to regain that skill. I do that with dumbbell press a lot. I'll train dumbbell press heavy as hard and heavy as hell for 6 weeks straight. And then I'll go to a Smith press and I'm like a baby deer on that thing. Because it's like, all right, well, now I can't kind of manipulate my shoulders to like press this weight the right way.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn around. I'm going to go on this Smith press. I'm going to be super locked in. And then the next week, I'm going back to those goddamn 150-pound dumbbells. I'm sending those things for as many as I can.
Yeah.
So
Love that. Well, thanks for coming on, Josh. It's been awesome to hear your story. Really happy to call you a friend, and I'm really excited to see what you do over the next year. Where can folks follow along, reach out to you if they want to for coaching, and get in touch with you?
So I am the Moses of Muscle on Instagram. That is probably the best place to catch me because I don't answer a lot of other apparatuses. I think my X-Twitter is the Moses O Muscle because it didn't fit. That's another place. And then I got a YouTube, the Moses of Muscle, where I do my own podcast with Colin. I'd love to have you on, Scott. And I would say either before
Absolutely.
or after prep, or we could even do it in person because we do live relatively in the same general area. But yeah, those are all my spots. If you
Yeah.
want to support me, support the gym, come on down to Hicksville. It's Ultimate Gym in Hicksville. Um, just show up, say what's up. Say you came from here, I'll give you a free day pass. I don't even care. Like, just show some love. This place it's a special place. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited to come check out the gym when I have a little more energy.
Oh yeah, we're absolutely sending it, and then we're going to get sushi. I don't see
Yeah.
everything I said in the past is going out the window when you come and see me. It's all going out the window. We're
It's
gonna
gonna be
make this thing
competitive.
happen. Oh,
Both in
absolutely.
the gym and at the sushi table.
Yeah, I'm bringing a camera and everything. We're gonna turn around. We got some friends at my sushi place, so we're gonna make this happen. We're gonna turn
Awesome.
around. We'll have them record how many pieces each one of us eat, and we might have to hire a videographer or something like that for it. So we'll have some fun with it.
That'll be sweet.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you, brother.
Of course. Thank you.